Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOURFRINDS and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news. Now, folks, if you've been paying attention to the NFC East lately, you know that things are heating up. The division is always competitive, from the Eagles to the Cowboys, and of course, the Giants trying to make their move. But what's really catching our eye this offseason is what's happening with the Washington Commanders. They're not just sitting back and watching the division get stronger. No, they're making moves that could reshape their future and set them up for a real Super Bowl push. And one of the biggest stories right now revolves around their secondary, which, believe it or not, has undergone a complete transformation over the last year. When we look back at the 2023 season, the Commanders' pass defense was, to put it bluntly, a disaster. They ranked dead last in the league, the worst pass defense in the NFL. That's a tough pill to swallow for any team with aspirations of competing at the highest level. But what's incredible is how much that unit improved in just one offseason. Fast forward to 2024, and suddenly Washington's secondary is among the best in the league, ranking third overall in pass defense. That's a monumental turnaround, and it speaks volumes about the coaching staff, the acquisitions, and the players' dedication. And when we talk about those key acquisitions, one name jumps out immediately: Marshon Lattimore. The Saints' cornerback was a significant addition at the trade deadline last year, bringing veteran leadership, experience, and a lockdown presence to the secondary. Lattimore's arrival was seen as a game changer, and it clearly paid dividends. His ability to shut down top receivers gave the Commanders a much-needed boost, allowing the secondary to gel and perform at a much higher level than in previous seasons. But that's not all that's happening behind the scenes. No, the Commanders are eyeing even more upgrades, especially in the cornerback position, which has historically been a weak point for them. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Rumors have been swirling that the Commanders aren't done yet, and they're looking for veteran help who can elevate the secondary to elite status. And one name that's been floated around quite a bit is Jaire Alexander, the star corner from the Green Bay Packers. The buzz is that Washington could be very interested in trading for him, and honestly, it makes a ton of sense when you analyze the situation. You see, the Packers have been pretty clear about their current stance with Alexander. Publicly, they've hinted at a potential breakup, and behind closed doors, it's no secret that the relationship might be coming to an end. Alexander, who's been one of the best cover corners in the league when healthy, has also struggled with injuries that have kept him off the field at times. But make no mistake, when he's healthy, he's a game changer. His ability to shut down top receivers, create turnovers, and provide leadership in the secondary is exactly what the Commanders need to take their defense to the next level. And let's be honest, adding a player of Jaire Alexander's caliber would be a statement move for Washington, signaling that they're serious about contending now, not just in a couple of years. So what's the story with Alexander and the Packers? Well, CBS Sports' Cody Benjamin has been reporting that the Packers have been preparing for a possible departure of their star corner. The team has publicly talked about the possibility of moving on, whether through trade or release, especially if Alexander isn't willing to accept a pay cut. You see, the Packers are facing a significant financial decision. They've reportedly put a new contract offer on the table, but if Jaire isn't interested in taking a reduced salary, Green Bay could save around $17 million just by trading or releasing him after June 1. That's a huge financial incentive for the Packers to move on, especially if they believe they can rebuild their secondary or allocate those funds elsewhere. From Washington's perspective, this is a golden opportunity. The team has been building a solid defense under head coach Ron Rivera, and with the addition of someone like Jaire Alexander, they could finally solidify their secondary in a way that's been missing for decades. Think about it, pairing Alexander with Marshon Lattimore would give the Commanders one of the most formidable outside corner duos in the league. That kind of talent is rare, and it would allow Washington to match up better against divisional foes like the Cowboys, C.D. Lamb, or the Eagles, A.J. Brown, and Devonta Smith. It's exactly the kind of upgrade that can turn a good defense into a great one, and that's what you need if you're serious about making a run to the Super Bowl. And let's not forget the division. The NFC East has been a dogfight for years, with each team upgrading their rosters in hopes of capturing the crown. The Eagles have been dominant the past couple of seasons, but they're not invincible. The Cowboys are always dangerous, especially with their talented defense and explosive offense. The Giants are trying to rebuild and find consistency. For Washington, making a bold move to land a star like Alexander could shift the balance, giving them a real edge. It's about sending a message that they're all in, that they're not just trying to compete but aiming to dominate. Now, I want to talk a little about the broader context here. Washington has been on a bit of a roller coaster in recent years. After a promising start in 2020 with Ron Rivera turning things around, they seemed poised for a playoff push. But injuries, inconsistent play, and some questionable decisions kept them from reaching the top. The 2023 season was a step back, their defense was porous, and the offense struggled to find consistency. But the offseason has been all about fixing those issues, and the secondary has been a bright spot. Improving from dead last in pass defense to third best in just 1 year is no small feat. It shows that the team is capable of making strategic moves and developing talent effectively. The coaching staff, led by Rivera and defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio, deserves credit for that turnaround. They've emphasized a more aggressive, disciplined approach, and the players have responded. But to truly elevate the defense into elite territory, they need that star corner to lock down the best receivers week in and week out. That's why the potential trade for Jaire Alexander is such a game changer. It's not just about adding talent, it's about making a statement that Washington is ready to compete at the highest level, that they're not content with just being a playoff team, but a contender for the Super Bowl. And of course, we have to consider the draft and free agency plans. The Commanders have some cap space to work with and a few key areas to address, but the secondary is clearly a priority. If they can land Alexander, it would reduce the pressure to draft a corner early or overspend on other positions. It's about strategic moves, about getting those difference makers, and about building a roster that can sustain success over multiple seasons. The NFL is a league of depth and talent, and having a lockdown corner like Jaire Alexander would give Washington a huge advantage in that regard. Now, let's also talk about the fan reaction. You know how passionate the Commanders fan base is? They've been waiting for the team to make a splash to show that they're in it for the long haul. A trade like this would send shockwaves through the NFC East and across the league. Imagine the excitement of seeing Alexander lining up on the outside, locking down top receivers, and creating turnovers in key moments. It would boost morale, energize the fan base, and send a clear message to the division that Washington isn't just rebuilding, they're reloading for a serious Super Bowl run. Of course, there are risks involved with any trade, and nothing is guaranteed. Jaire Alexander has dealt with injuries in the past, and a trade could come with some unforeseen hurdles. But the upside is enormous. A healthy Alexander paired with Lattimore would give the Commanders a secondary that rivals the best in the league. That, combined with their improving pass rush and a solid overall defensive scheme, could be the missing piece that finally pushes them over the top. In the end, what's happening here is a testament to how the NFL offseason is a chess game. Teams are constantly trying to outsmart each other, making bold moves to gain an edge. For Washington, this potential trade for Jaire Alexander isn't just about acquiring a player, it's about making a statement about saying, we're here to contend now. And as fans, we should be excited because this kind of move could very well define the next chapter of the Commanders' story. And now, Washington Commanders fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you believe that landing Jaire Alexander would be the right move for the team? Are you excited about the secondary's potential with him in the mix? Or do you think there are other areas that need more attention? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Washington Commanders. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Washington Commanders news. We're just getting started with what could be one of the most exciting off-seasons in franchise history.